Did you know that at 6'7", Barron Trump is 4 inches taller than his father? The teenager has done quite a lot of growing since his dad became president. How else has the youngest member of the Trump family transformed? Keep watching to find out. Melania and Donald Trump married on January 22, 2005 in Palm Beach, Florida. While Donald already had children from his 2 previous marriages, the couple welcomed their first son and Melania's first child on March 20, 2006. Interestingly, Barron Trump was a U.S. citizen before his mother was, seeing as he was born in New York City. Melania, who hails from Slovenia, didn't become a citizen until July 2006, after landing a green card in 2001. Melania and Donald have always made headlines for their unique relationship. Say what you will about Donald's political views, but the couple certainly seems to take each other in stride. In 2005, Trump told Larry King on CNN that there's nothing like having children, but added that's only the case if you have the money. Trump's perspective on daddy duties, though?
I'm not going to be doing the diapers. I'm not going to be making the food. I may never even see the kids, frankly.
No, yo,
okay? No, she will be an unbelievable mother. I'll be a good father.
What does Melania think about Donald's disinterest in being a hands-on dad? In a 2012 interview with Parenting, she said of her husband, "He didn't change diapers, and I'm completely fine with that. It's very important to know the person you're with, and we know our roles." Barron Trump was baptized in the same church where his parents got married the year before. He received the sacrament on December 8, 2006 in Palm Beach, Florida, at the Episcopal Church of Bethesda by the Sea. Melania's parents and sister were present, as were Donald's children and 5 bodyguards, according to People. Donald himself is Presbyterian. Interestingly, Melania's religious beliefs were unknown for much of her public life. But after her visit to the Vatican in 2017, where she and Donald met with Pope Francis, the world discovered that she is Catholic. In fact, during the visit, the Pope blessed her rosary, a set of beads Catholics use to say a devotional prayer. She was dressed entirely in black and wore a black veil for the visit. While extremely private about her faith, this wasn't the first time that Melania's life was influenced by her Catholic background. Although her wedding was held in an Episcopal church, she walked down the aisle to the song Ave Maria while holding a rosary. While Barron's baptism was also in the Episcopal Church, it's unclear how much of his upbringing was shaped by either parent's religion. For Melania, though, it's evident that religion is deeply significant to her. After the papal visit, she wrote on Twitter, "Today's visit with His Holiness Pope Francis is one I'll never forget." Melania Trump obviously thinks highly of Donald Trump and has made this clear throughout their relationship. At the Republican National Convention in 2016, she said of her husband, "He is tough when he has to be, but he is also kind and fair and caring. This kindness is not always noted, but it is there for all to see. That is one reason I fell in love with him to begin with." When Donald was first elected president, the hashtag #FreeMelania went viral. But it eventually became evident that she didn't need any liberation. The two seem to understand each other, and by all accounts are much more united than people give them credit for. This admiration for Donald has melded into the love Melania has for their son, largely because Donald and Barron Trump appear to be so similar. Melania affectionately called her son a very strong-minded boy while speaking to Parenting magazine. She also told the outlet, "Barron is independent and opinionated and knows exactly what he wants." Like Melania, Barron has also always admired his dad. When he was 5 years old, he wanted to be like his father, Melania explained, describing the close bond between the two. She shared that Barron enjoyed building things and drawing as a kid. In light of this, Barron's nickname became Little Donald, since he takes after his father so much. Barron Trump's access to the finer things goes beyond even what we might expect of a child born to a real estate mogul. Comedian Ellen DeGeneres gifted baby Barron a golden stroller that came with a little chandelier that dangled above it, People noted. While the gift might be a bit garish, according to some folks' taste, Melania found it amusing, telling People, "It's fun, it makes you laugh." Barbara Walters sent Barron a massive stuffed dog, per a later publication by People, and he was gifted with onesies sporting the catchphrase made famous by The Apprentice.
"You're fired."
When Barron was a little older and had begun speaking, Melania and Donald appeared on CNN with Larry King, who asked if Barron had fired anyone. Melania joked, "He did, yes, actually he did. He fired the housekeeper and nanny many times." Barron's living arrangements as a baby were an education in lavishness. He grew up in the Trump apartment on Fifth Avenue in New York City, and according to People, his quarters were on the floor above his parents' bedroom. This space came with a nursery, kitchen, living room, and quarters for a nanny. And if the Trumps were worried about baby noises waking them up, there was no need. Melania told People, "Barron's a very good baby. He's not like a crybaby. He's calm, and it's fantastic." As he grew into a teenager, Barron Trump revealed a love of sports. Melania Trump confirmed this when she spoke at Liberty University in 2018, saying that Barron was all into sports. His team affiliation is notably international, as he was spotted at the White House wearing an Arsenal Football Club jersey, a soccer team hailing from Islington, London, England. He even played on teams in the DC area. On September 22, 2017, sports writer Pablo Iglesias Maher tweeted that Barron was on the team roster for the DC United Under-12 team, writing, "Barron Trump is playing at RFK tomorrow." No, really. Seriously, not kidding. In light of ongoing injury reports around the NFL, Donald Trump was asked by CBS News' Margaret Brennan whether or not he would allow Barron to play football. Trump responded,
If he wanted to, yes. Would I steer him that way? No, I wouldn't.
Donald went on to add that Barron's real passion is soccer. Donald also said he loves watching football, but confessed that he would have a hard time letting Barron play the game because,
well, I've heard NFL players saying they wouldn't let their sons play football.
So if Barron doesn't want Dad to worry, he should stick to what the rest of the world calls football. While Donald Trump's famous confession that he never changed Barron Trump's diaper when he was a baby might not compare to a lot of people's parenting experiences, Donald did stress that he liked the hands-on dad approach in other ways. Trump told People in 2006, "I love to feed the baby. Not because I have to, but just because I love it. A lot of times early in the morning, I'll take care of him." Donald explains that he doesn't sleep for long anyway, so it's not a problem, adding, "Over the years, I have changed a diaper, but not on Barron." Melania's response was, "That's my job." While he might not be on diaper duty, it's clear that Donald loves being a father. Trump explained to People, "Melania loves taking care of the baby. If we have more, it will be terrific." As Barron grew up, he became the typical shy teenager, something that came up when Donald was the president. Author Jonathan Karl described an experience in his book Betrayal, the Final Act of the Trump Show, where Donald spoke to reporter Zeke Miller about Karl himself. Karl quoted Donald as saying, "Jonathan is very cool. He is like my son." Donald then pretended to speak with his son, saying, "Do you love your dad? I don't know. But he does. He's too cool. The kids." Barron Trump's relationship with his mother is vastly more documented than the one he has with Donald Trump. Melania Trump made sure that Barron learned her own mother tongue so as to connect with her and her family. Barron speaks fluent Slovenian, GQ notes, and can converse with his maternal grandparents. As Barron became more of a public figure, thanks to his father's presidency and previous celebrity, the media couldn't help but notice his connection to his mother, since they were so heavily photographed. Barron is often at Melania's side during major events. Furthermore, Melania also puts Barron first, even before political protocol. The Trump family made endless headlines in 2016 for Melania's refusal to bring Barron to the White House directly after Donald's inauguration. Her delay came from a desire to allow Barron to complete the rest of his school year. Barron was only 10 at the time, and Melania wouldn't budge. Barron Trump's arrival at the White House was a novel experience in terms of presidential families. Prior presidents had children living in the White House, but the last few underage occupants were daughters. To find a previous first son who resided there as a child, one has to go all the way back to John F. Kennedy's presidency to land on John F. Kennedy Jr. While Barron certainly got a unique adolescence thanks to his dad's political aspirations, it doesn't look like it was always an easy experience being a kid in the White House. In 2017, when Kathy Griffin created an image of herself holding a severed head of Donald Trump, Barron found the visual traumatizing, and understandably so. He was only 11 at the time, and allegedly was deeply agitated by the photo. Trump shot back with a tweet, "Kathy Griffin should be ashamed of herself. My children, especially my 11-year-old son Barron, are having a hard time with this. Sick."
I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it.
In the same year, a writer for Saturday Night Live, Katie Rich, tweeted, "Barron will be this country's first homeschool shooter." This tweet was also met with outrage, both by the White House and those outside of politics. Chelsea Clinton, the daughter of Donald's political rival Hillary Clinton, jumped on Twitter to defend the president's son, writing, "Barron Trump deserves the chance every child does, to be a kid." So what did Barron Trump think about Donald Trump's political life? The young boy was frequently out of the spotlight and obviously never gave interviews. However, enough evidence came forward to show that Barron found his dad to be too hard in some moments. In Donald's debates with President Joe Biden, Barron, who was 14 at the time, felt that his father was too bombastic. According to Molly Hemingway's book, Rigged, How the Media, Big Tech, and the Democrats Seized Our Elections, Donald said, "People thought I was too belligerent. I will say my own son Barron said, 'Dad, you were too tough. You didn't have to keep interrupting him.'" In fact, as Politico notes, Donald's children, as well as Melania Trump herself, urged him to present a more presidential persona ahead of the 2016 election, so as to appear more palatable to the American voter. Trump's older children famously appeared alongside him, both on the campaign trail and in the White House. But Barron stayed out of the spotlight and away from the microphone on account of how young he was. While Donald Trump was president, he received endless vitriol, thanks to his contentious views and policies, his handling of the coronavirus pandemic, and the ways in which troubling moments in his past informed the present. Despite the outspokenness towards Donald, there was a unified attitude in the media to protect Barron Trump. After Saturday Night Live writer Katie Rich took things too far with her tweet about Barron being a homeschooled shooter, the unanimous view was to protect him and leave him alone. In an opinion piece for The Observer, Jasmine Ting wrote, "He may be the son of the least popular incoming president in 40 years, but that doesn't justify personally attacking a 10-year-old boy. He is not his father. He's a child. And until he is able to speak for himself as an independent adult, he doesn't deserve any of this." It is worth mentioning that The Observer was owned by Donald's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, at the time, so keep that in mind. However, Ting's opinion wasn't a hard pill to swallow, no matter what one's political allegiances were. On November 9, 2016, when Donald became the president-elect, media footage captured a sleepy Barron as he took in the news with the rest of his family. One Twitter user wrote, "I felt sorry for the lad. I really did. And if he was mine, I would have told him to go to bed or lay down anywhere." Another tweeted, quote, "We are all Barron Trump," seemingly in reference to staying up so late to get the results. Part of the protection of Donald Trump's youngest son has been to keep him out of the public eye as much as possible. But Barron Trump's notable absence from major events during his father's presidency raised some questions. Barron was not with his parents when they left the White House on their last day. In addition, he was nowhere to be found when Donald issued his final address as president at Joint Base Andrews, while Trump's other children, as well as Melania Trump, were there to witness it. Meanwhile, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner brought their children, and many of Donald's other grandchildren were present for the send-off. Although the situation sparked endless Home Alone jokes on Twitter, there might be a more serious reason for Barron's absence from these final public events. During Donald's impeachment inquiry, Professor Pamela Karlan, who teaches at Stanford University, made reference to his inappropriate uses of power and said,
"So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron."
Obviously, Melania was all over this and snapped back on Twitter. "A minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Karlan, you should be ashamed of your very angry and obviously biased public pandering, and using a child to do it." Others from both parties were against the comment, and it seems like a plausible connection that, following Karlan's remark, Barron was kept away from the public. Barron Trump finally got a chance to get out of the public eye in January 2021, when he moved to Florida with Donald and Melania Trump. Barron's new school, Oxbridge Academy, is near the family's Mar-a-Lago resort and is located in Palm Beach. The school is ultra-luxurious, having been founded by business mogul William Koch, and costs $34,800 annually. Fortunately for Barron, the school also offers a huge athletic program, so he's got it made in the shade. It even has a flight simulator, so he will be entertained for sure. Not only was the transition an adjustment for Barron, who went from attending school in New York City to St. Andrew's Episcopal School in Potomac, Maryland, to a new school in Florida, it also required some adaptability on the part of Oxbridge Academy. As the Palm Beach Post reports, it's the first time the school had to accommodate the Secret Service for any of its students. The head of Oxbridge Academy, Ralph Maurer, said, "A small contingent of Secret Service agents will be present during each school day. We are working directly with the Secret Service to ensure that logistics and security work smoothly and discreetly with little impact on students, faculty, staff, or day-to-day operations. Though Barron isn't graduating until 2024, his Secret Service protection is only guaranteed to him until his 16th birthday, unless he faces threats that require their continued presence. Since the former president's son turned 16 in March of 2022, we expect that those days of adjustment are at an end. Height might be an odd thing to make headlines for, but Barron Trump went viral when he visited New York City in July 2021 for the simple fact that he got really tall. He's a whopping 6'7", according to the New York Post. He and Melania Trump were photographed leaving Trump Tower, and the comparison of Barron next to his mother, who is 5'11", was striking. Donald Trump is 6'3". Barron now towers over all of Donald's older children, so they can't quite call him the baby of the family anymore. The details of the sighting of Barron and Melania together were every bit as luxurious as we've come to expect from the family. Barron was carrying his mother's Louis Vuitton X Richard Prince bag, which cost an estimated $3,995, while Melania carried an $11,000 Birkin bag. The UberFacts Twitter account was all over the news and pointed out that Barron is well over a foot taller than the average 15-year-old. While some people were signing Barron up for the NBA, others followed the ongoing request to keep someone so young out of the spotlight. One Twitter user commented, "Maybe don't post pictures of underage kids, no matter who their parents are." The factoid is a talking point for Trump himself, though, who mentioned Barron's height at the North Carolina GOP convention in the summer of 2021. Clearly, he's come a long way from the little boy in the golden stroller. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about people in the news are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.